The place card at my cousin Helena's wedding reception had my name written in different handwriting than all the others. Smaller letters. Cheaper cardstock. And it was positioned at a small table near the swinging kitchen doors, partially hidden behind a service station where waiters collected dirty plates. There must be some mistake, I said to the wedding planner, a sharp-featured woman named Cordelia who wore her clipboard like armor. No mistake. She didn't look up from her seating chart. You're table 22. Next to the kitchen staff break area. I'm family. Helena is my cousin. And the bride specifically requested this arrangement. Now she did look up, her expression making it clear this conversation was over. The main tables are for distinguished guests. You understand. I understood perfectly. I was 29, worked as a historical consultant, and had spent the last 3 years living modestly while completing a specialized project I couldn't discuss. My family had decided this made me unsuccessful, unmarketable, and unsuitable for prominent display at Helena's society wedding. Helena was marrying Edmund Worthington III, whose family owned a pharmaceutical empire and summered in the Hamptons. The wedding had been planned for 2 years, featured in 3 magazines, and designed to showcase wealth, status, and social connections. I didn't fit the narrative they were selling. My Aunt Margaret, Helena's mother, had made her position clear at the bridal shower 6 weeks earlier. We're seating people strategically, dear. Edmund's family knows everyone who matters. We can't have complications. Complications meaning me. The cousin who'd chosen academic research over corporate ladder climbing. Who wore off-the-rack dresses instead of designer labels. Who had declined 3 previous family wedding invitations because I'd been traveling for work to places I couldn't name, doing research I couldn't explain. What do you even do all day? My Uncle Thomas had asked at Christmas, making my job sound like an extended hobby. Look at old documents? Something like that, I'd replied. The truth was more complex, more classified, and infinitely more important than anyone in my family suspected. But I'd learned years ago that some people only respect success they can see, touch, and brag about at country club brunches. The morning of Helena's wedding, my mother called with a warning disguised as advice. Just keep a low profile today, Sophia. Helena's nervous about everything being perfect. Don't draw attention to yourself. I hadn't planned to. I'd planned to attend the ceremony, make an appearance at the reception, and leave early. My actual work was too important and too confidential to worry about family politics. But as I entered the reception venue, a restored mansion with marble floors and crystal chandeliers, the wedding planner stopped me at the entrance. Service entrance is around back, Cordelia said, blocking my path. I'm a guest. Sophia Hartwell. You have my place card at table 22. She looked me up and down, taking in my simple navy dress and modest jewelry. Table 22 is the service staff overflow area. Are you certain you're not working the event? I'm the bride's cousin. Her tone suggested she didn't believe me. Well, table 22 is through those doors past the main reception area. Stay out of the photographer's sight lines during the formal portraits. I walked through the grand ballroom where my family mingled with the Worthingtons and their wealthy, powerful friends. Politicians. Business leaders. Society figures whose names appeared in Forbes and Vogue. Helena glowed in her designer gown, Edmund looked appropriately besotted, and my Aunt Margaret held court like royalty. No one acknowledged me as I passed. Table 22 was exactly where Cordelia had indicated, tucked behind a decorative screen, adjacent to the kitchen access, far from the elegant chaos of the main reception. My table mates were a catering supervisor checking her phone, 2 bartenders on break, and someone's distant relative who looked as confused about the seating arrangement as I felt. You family too? The woman asked, introducing herself as Marion. Cousin of the bride. Me too. Second cousin. Haven't seen Helena since we were kids. Marion looked around at our isolated location. Guess we're not the successful branch of the family tree. Apparently not. Build up. The reception proceeded with choreographed precision. Helena and Edmund's grand entrance drew applause. The first dance was professionally filmed from multiple angles. Dinner was served on china that probably cost more than my monthly rent. At table 22 we got our food last, served by waiters who looked apologetic about the location. The toasts began after dinner. Best man first, recounting Edmund's boarding school adventures and investment banking triumphs. Maid of honor next, Helena's college roommate from Vassar, discussing their European trips and charity gala experiences. My Uncle Thomas stood to speak next. Helena has always been destined for greatness, he began, his voice carrying across the ballroom. She chose her path carefully, made smart decisions, associated with the right people, found a partner who matches her ambitions and values. The subtext was clear. Some family members made smart choices. Others like me did not. My Aunt Margaret spoke next, becoming emotional as she discussed Helena's accomplishments, her impeccable taste, her bright future with Edmund. She thanked the Worthingtons for welcoming Helena into their extraordinary family. She didn't mention me. Didn't acknowledge the rest of her extended family hidden behind screens near the kitchen. Edmund's father took the microphone and his speech focused on legacy, breeding, and the importance of maintaining standards. In our circles, he said, reputation matters. Association matters. We're proud to welcome Helena into a family that understands these values. I checked my phone during the speeches. An encrypted message waited from Sir James Rothwell, director of the Royal Archives. The ceremony is confirmed for next week. Her Majesty is looking forward to personally thanking you for your service. The discovery you made will change how we understand the succession. Extraordinary work, Dr. Hartwell. Dr. Hartwell. I'd completed my doctorate 2 years ago, specializing in Tudor history and royal lineage documentation. The historical consulting I'd been doing was actually a classified project for the British Crown, authenticating documents that proved several controversial historical claims about royal succession and legitimacy. The discovery I'd made 6 months ago had been significant enough that Queen Catherine herself had requested a private audience. The investiture ceremony next week would make my contribution official and public. My family knew none of this. They knew I looked at old documents and traveled occasionally for research. They decided this made me unsuccessful and unmarriageable, someone to hide at weddings and exclude from family narratives. I hadn't corrected them. The project was classified. And honestly, their opinion had stopped mattering around the time they'd relegated me to table 22. The speeches continued. More toasts. More emphasis on success, status, and social position. The photographer circulated, capturing the prominent guests and carefully avoiding our corner. Then Edmund's father returned to the microphone with a special announcement. Before we continue with the evening's festivities, I want to recognize some distinguished guests who've joined us tonight. He began reading names. Senator Bradford, Kyo Mitchell, Ambassador Chin. Each person stood to polite applause while the photographer captured their moment. We're particularly honored, Edmund's father continued, to have representatives from several diplomatic missions present. International relations matter to our family business, and we're grateful for these connections. The ballroom doors opened and a man in formal morning dress entered, carrying a leather portfolio embossed with gold. He moved with military precision, scanning the room with practiced efficiency. "Is that?" Marion whispered next to me, staring. It was Royal Equerry Marcus Thornton, whose photograph I'd seen in briefing documents. He served the British royal family directly, handling official communications and ceremonial functions. My stomach dropped. Equerry Thornton approached the microphone, and Edmund's father stepped aside, suddenly uncertain. The room had gone completely silent, sensing that something unexpected was happening. "Good evening," Thornton said, his crisp British accent carrying authority that made everyone straighten instinctively. "I apologize for the interruption, but I'm here on official business from the royal household." He opened the leather portfolio, removing a cream-colored envelope with a red wax seal. The royal seal immediately recognizable. "I'm looking for Dr. Sophia Hartwell," he announced, his eyes scanning the ballroom. "Is Dr. Hartwell present?" Revelation. Every head in the room turned, searching. My family looked confused. The Worthingtons looked alarmed. Helena's face had gone pale. I stood slowly from table 22, partially hidden behind the decorative screen. "I'm Sophia Hartwell." Thornton's expression transformed from professional neutrality to warm recognition. "Dr. Hartwell. There you are." He walked directly toward me, moving past the head tables, past my stunned family, past the photographers who scrambled to follow. He reached table 22 and bowed formally. Shelley bowed. "Dr. Hartwell, I bring greetings from Her Majesty Queen Catherine and the royal household. He presented the sealed envelope. Her Majesty requests the honor of your presence at Windsor Castle next week for an investiture ceremony, where you will be formally recognized for your extraordinary service to the crown. The room remained frozen. Silent. Every eye tracked the exchange. I took the envelope, feeling the weight of the heavy paper, seeing my name written in calligraphy, Dr. Sophia Margaret Hartwell. Her Majesty asked me to personally deliver this invitation and to express her deep gratitude for your work, Thornton continued, his voice carrying to every corner of the ballroom. The historical documents you authenticated have resolved centuries of scholarly debate. Your discovery regarding the Tudor succession papers is being called the most significant find in royal history in 50 years. My Aunt Margaret had gone completely white. My Uncle Thomas looked like he was having a medical emergency. Helena stood frozen beside Edmund, whose father was frantically whispering to someone on his phone. The ceremony will be attended by members of the royal family, the Archbishop of Canterbury and representatives from the Commonwealth, Thornton explained. Her Majesty wishes to personally confer upon you the honor of Dame Commander of the Royal Victorian Order for your service to the crown. Dame. The title echoed through the silent ballroom. Additionally, Thornton continued, Her Majesty has invited you to remain at Windsor as her personal guest for the state dinner following the ceremony. The Prime Minister will be in attendance, along with several heads of state. He smiled warmly. I understand this is somewhat dramatic, but Her Majesty insisted that the invitation be delivered personally and promptly. She's quite eager to thank you herself for what you've accomplished. Thank you, Equerry Thornton, I managed, my voice steadier than I felt. Please convey my gratitude to Her Majesty. I'm honored. The honor is ours, Dr. Hartwell. He bowed again, then surveyed the ballroom with an expression that suggested he understood exactly what had just happened. I apologize for interrupting the wedding festivities. Please continue your celebration. He departed as formally as he'd arrived, leaving stunned silence in his wake. The wedding planner stood near the entrance, her clipboard hanging limp in her hands, staring at me like I'd materialized from another dimension. My mother was the first family member to move, rushing toward table 22 with an expression of shocked disbelief. Sophia? You're being made a dame? By the Queen. Next week, I confirmed quietly. But you said you were just doing research. Looking at documents. Royal documents. For the crown. It was classified. My Uncle Thomas appeared next, his earlier dismissiveness transformed into desperate calculation. Why didn't you tell us? This is extraordinary. We had no idea you were working with the royal family. You never asked what I actually did. You decided it wasn't important. Helena pushed through the crowd forming around my isolated table, her perfect wedding suddenly overshadowed. Sophia, I'm so sorry about the seating. If we'd known you were, we didn't realize. That I was successful? I supplied. That I'd accomplished something significant? You assumed because I didn't have Edmund's money or connections that I was worth hiding near the kitchen. Tears filled her eyes, but I felt no satisfaction. Just tired recognition of who my family really was. Edmund's father appeared, his political instincts immediately calculating angles. Dr. Hartwell. We should discuss this properly. Having a family connection to someone being honored by the crown, this could be valuable for our business interests. I'm not your family, I said clearly. And I'm not available for networking. Resolution. The reception continued around us, but the energy had completely changed. Guests who'd ignored me all evening now tried to approach table 22. The photographer suddenly wanted pictures. The wedding planner apologized 3 times. I collected my purse and the royal invitation, preparing to leave. You can't go, my Aunt Margaret protested. We need to talk about this. The family should celebrate your achievement. The family relegated me to the service area because I didn't meet your standards of visible success, I said quietly. You made your priorities clear. We made a mistake, my mother said, tears streaming down her face. We didn't understand what you were doing. You were always so secretive about your work. Because it was classified. Because I was authenticating documents that could affect royal succession claims. Because some achievements matter more than wedding photographs and social media posts. My Uncle Thomas tried a different approach. The investiture ceremony, We'll attend, of course. The family should be there to support you. The ceremony is private by invitation only. I'm allowed 2 guests. I looked at Marion, still seated at table 22, who'd watched everything unfold with wide eyes. I'm bringing my friend Dr. Sarah Chin and her husband. People who supported my work when it mattered. But we're family, Helena whispered. So you've said. Usually right before explaining why I need to stay out of sight. I walked toward the exit, past the elaborate centerpieces and crystal chandeliers, past the society guests who now whispered about the bride's cousin being honored by the Queen. Equerry Thornton waited by his car outside, checking his phone. He looked up as I approached. Dr. Hartwell. Are you leaving already? The reception lost its appeal. He smiled knowingly. Her Majesty suspected you hadn't told your family about the project. She wanted them to learn in the most dramatic way possible. She has a wicked sense of humor sometimes. Mission accomplished. Indeed. He opened his car door, then paused. For what it's worth, your work was brilliant. The Tudor documents you authenticated will rewrite history books. The Crown is genuinely grateful. Thank you. I drove home to my small apartment, changed into comfortable clothes, and opened the royal invitation properly. The details of the ceremony. The schedule for the state dinner. A handwritten note from Queen Catherine herself, thanking me for my service and discretion. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from family. Apologies. Explanations. Requests to discuss my achievement. Demands for details about the ceremony. I silenced the notifications and made tea instead. Next week, I would stand at Windsor Castle while Queen Catherine conferred the title of Dame Commander. I would dine with royalty and heads of state. My work would be recognized at the highest levels. Helena's wedding would be remembered as the event where the bride's unsuccessful cousin was revealed to be a dame-elect honored by the Queen herself. The wedding video would forever include the moment Equerry Thornton delivered a royal invitation to table 22, near the kitchen doors, where family had hidden their inconvenient relative. I raised my teacup to the quiet apartment. To secret achievements. To knowing your worth. To justice served by royal decree. And to the look on the wedding planner's face when she realized the woman she'd directed to the service entrance was about to become Dame Sophia Hartwell. Some successes don't fit on place cards or seating charts. They're written on royal parchment and sealed with the crown's authority. My family was learning that lesson the hard way. And honestly, I couldn't have planned a better revelation myself.